Hey class, here is the math video for our assignment on May 12th. What we're going to be working with today is more graphs, more charts, and more data. Today we're going to be working with graphs called pictographs, or also called pictographs. And once we get into it, we'll see what's the difference there. And today, together, we're going to be doing pages 697 through 699 together. And then you will do pages 701 and 702 on your own. As always, this is listed on your LMS assignment, so just double check those pages and grab your book and we'll get started. All right, friends, so I've got my book here. I'm on page 697 and I'm ready to get started. So you see that the name of the lesson today is called Draw Scaled Picture Graphs. Let's read. In grade 2, you used a picture graph with different pictures to represent data. A pictograph uses the same symbol to represent more than one. For this reason, it's also called a scaled picture graph. And I think that this makes the most sense when we actually look at the graphs here. So let's take a look at this first orange one. It says favorite fruits, and you can see 4 different types of fruits, and then it looks like different drawings of fruits. Whereas here in the blue graph, named favorite fruits, we don't have different pictures of fruits. It looks like a picture of a basket over and over and over. So let's read what the problem is asking, and I bet it'll explain this to us. All right, example 1. 15 students drew pictures of their favorite fruit on sticky notes. Their responses are shown in the picture graph. How can this data be displayed in a pictograph? Okay, so if I counted up every single sticky note here, it would give me 15. However, that's not what it looks like here. It says a pictograph displays the same data as a picture graph, but in a different way. Here it says make a key. The key tells how many each symbol represents. Oh, so I see that a basket represents 2 students. Okay, so for a banana, it would be like 2, 4, 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whereas here, one basket is 2, 4, 6. So it's showing the same information, but just in a different way. Here, it says half a basket represents how many students? Well, if one basket is 2 students, half of that would be 1 student. Good. There are half as many symbols in the pictograph as the picture graph. So the graphs display the same set of data in 2 different ways. All right. It shows us the same information, but this time, instead of putting 1 sticky note for each fruit, they said that a basket is going to represent 2 fruits. Let's keep working together. When you read a graph, you study or analyze the data. So all that means, guys, analyze is a fancy word for saying you're studying it. You're looking at it really closely and trying to figure out what it says. After you analyze data, then you are able to interpret the data or explain what you've learned. So after you've looked really carefully at a graph, you've analyzed it, then you're able to say what you learned about the data. You can tell us what's going on. So these 2 words are going to keep coming up in this lesson. If you need to come back and look at the definitions, just come back here to this page. Let's do example 2. The pictograph shows the results of a movie Antoine conducted. Who saw more movies than Grace? Okay, we have to go and we have to analyze this graph. We have to see what it says. Okay, movies seen during summer vacation. The first thing we need to do, we need to look at the key. We need to see how much each of these tickets is representing. So the key says that 1 ticket equals 2 movies. Good. You know what I'm going to do, friends? I'm going to go and I'm going to count up using this key and write the number of movies that each person saw next to their name. Okay? So we can just skip count by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Zach saw 12 movies. That's a lot of movies, Zach. 2, 4, 6, 8. Carla saw 8. Grace, 2, 4, 6. Grace saw 6 movies. Ivan, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And Ricardo, 2, 4, 6. 6. Okay, we just analyzed this data. We see everything about what it means. Now we're going to interpret it, and we're going to answer some questions based on what we know. Who saw more movies than Grace? So it says the key shows that each symbol represents 2 movies. Grace saw 2, 4, 6, or 6 movies. Carla saw 2, 4, 6, 8 movies, right? They're just showing you here that you can add 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 to equal 8. The question says, who saw 2 more movies than Grace? We see that Carla. 8 is 2 more than 6. Okay, so now what I'm going to have you do, folks, is you are going to do numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to create pictographs, all right? I'm going to do this first one with you and then write a sentence to interpret it. So I'm going to show you how to do this one. Then I'll stop the video, come back, and then just show you the answers here. So let's do this number 1 together. Analyze the pictograph, then write a sentence that interprets the data. Okay, first, 2 weeks of weather. Okay, so we're talking about weather, and my key says that 1 smiley face is equal to 2 days. So how many sunny days were there? 2, 4, 6. How many cloudy days were there? There's just 1 smiley face, but is that 1 day? 1 smiley face is 2 days. And snow, 2 smiley faces is 2, 4 days. So now we want to write a sentence that interprets. Tell me something about this data. Okay, so for example, I could say there are twice as many snowy days as cloudy days, right? 2 times 2 is 4, so I have 2 times more snowy days than cloudy days. Or I could say there is mostly sunny days overall. So I'm just gonna go with writing that there are 2 times as many snowy days as cloudy days. All right, so your sentence, it just needs to be some conclusion that you've come to based off of reading this chart. What I don't want you to tell me, interpreting the data is not just reading the graph for me. I don't want you to say there were 2 cloudy days. I want you to compare or contrast or tell me something about how the data relates to each other. Right? There are 2 times more snowy days than cloudy days. There is mostly sunny days overall. So keep that in mind as you do numbers 2, 3, and 4, and then we will come back and we will check them together. Third graders, so what I'm going to do here is quickly show you the answers that I came up with for this page. Your graphs need to look exactly like mine. Your sentence interpreting the data can be a little bit different as long as it's thoughtful and it has to do with the graphs. So let's look at number 2. You had to create a pictograph. They told you that the key here, a circle, would represent 2 balls. So the top one, football, has 3 circles, which equals 6 balls. Baseball would have 2 to equal 4. Basketball was 7, so you had to do 1, 2, 3, which would be 2, 4, 6, and 7 would be half of a circle. So the analysis that I came up with, the interpreting, is that there were a total of 17 sports balls sold on Saturday. Maybe you would say something like basketball was the most overall, baseball was the least of all, something like that. All right, just as long as it's a thoughtful sentence that interprets this graph. Number 3, this was a lot of fish. In fact, my sentence that interprets the graphs said that a total of 35 fish were caught on Sunday. So for creating these fish, it said that 1 fish drawing equals 2 fish. it can be tricky. Your fish doesn't have to look that detailed. Here's a quick tutorial of how I drew mine. I would do like a scoop under and then a scoop over. Again, scoop under, scoop over. And they don't have to be perfect. This is not art class. But for trout, you should have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So there's 5 trouts drawn. Bass, 2, 4, 6, 8. Awesome. And then catfish, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and then half of a fish for 17. Down here to number 4, they told us that the barn had 6 of each of these animals and 9 pigs. But our key says that A equals 3 animals. So cow would be 3 plus 3 or 6. Horse would be 3 plus 3 or 6. And then 9 pigs, 3, 6, 9. So here was how I interpreted the data. I said that the same number of horses and cows are in the barn. Again, your sentence does not have to be just like mine. As long as it's thoughtful and has to do with your data, that is fine. Folks, you're gonna do pages 701 and 702 on your own. It looks like you only have 7 problems, so I think that you're gonna do really, really well with this. Keep working hard. If you have questions or you feel confused, go back and look at the ones that we did together. You know, that can be a really helpful way to get some questions answered if you have questions. But if you are really struggling with it, do not be afraid to send me an email. I would be very happy to help you. Keep working hard, 3rd graders. Go Dolphins.